We've been talking all week about Rockin It REAL. REAL standing for recognize, evaluate, activate, and learn. Today we're going to talk about starting out. And I'm going to tell you right now, Tom and I talked earlier, this is kind of an interesting topic because I don't know where this is going to go, and I'm not sure Tom does either. So stay tuned to episode 912 of today's Antidote, and let's find out together.
Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote provides an opportunity for business owners and leaders to discover what is real for them and to be impacted by what is real for others. That is the Renegade way. Let's get real. We all face challenges and get stuck occasionally and are looking for an antidote. Each weekday, this show dives into a topic that may have you stuck, frustrated, and uncertain. Our goal is to share our value in an effort to help you find that one thing, the antidote to your challenges, so that you can get results and make more money. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
What's up, Tom?
Good morning. How are you, Bob?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thanks.
Is it okay if I share some of the highlights of our discussion with people this morning? We had a pretty broad discussion this morning.
Sure.
We talked about politics. This was before the program, so you missed out. Politics, how people see other people, and then a very detailed discussion about how we could change NASCAR to be far more effective. It started with Tom giving me a hard time because I got kind of wound up about some NASCAR stuff. And it led to a discussion where I think you and I agreed that if we could do a demolition derby style end to the NASCAR season with the best cars, that would be the way we want to go. So if there are NASCAR fans out there or any administration in the NASCAR family and you want to talk to us about how we think we could make NASCAR more fun for everyone, we are there for you. We will do a lovely consulting arrangement with NASCAR.
Or sponsorship. There are a lot of people who sponsor things in NASCAR.
I always like when they talk to the racers after they crash their car. It's like, yeah, my Sunoco 453-2 XV car really was, the team did really great. Yeah. The Quaker State oil was really good in that car this week. They work in all those sponsors.
Look at you.
I've watched a little NASCAR. Plus a little Talladega Nights. And then my personal favorite for non-NASCAR reasons, honestly, would be Days of Thunder.
Never seen Days of Thunder.
Never. Tom Cruise, Nicole Kidman?
No.
Oh. Okay. Have you seen Talladega Nights?
With Ricky and Bob? No.
Ricky Bobby.
Yeah. Yes.
If you're not first, you're last.
Yes. Ricky Bobby. I have seen that one.
It's a great name. It speaks to everything.
Well, it's Will Ferrell, too. So
it's Will Ferrell. Yeah, you either love him or hate him.
People hate Will Ferrell?
Yeah, I know several people that will not engage with the real Will Ferrell movie.
He's Elf. How could you hate Will Ferrell?
Well, most of them will waive the rules for that.
Oh, so they're only partially hate.
That's right.
They're selective.
That's right. They're selective Will Ferrell fans.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Antidote. As we mentioned, this is our daily broadcast and podcast where we have a conversation around a topic.
Far today has been NASCAR.
Well, and you never know what that topic could be. The last 2 days have been very interesting. Yesterday, we talked about new Olympics and Bob's coverage of that.
Excuse the pun.
Or lack of coverage at it. And today we started off talking about NASCAR. So you never know what's going to pop up. And it really is just about what's real. What's going on in the day? What are the conversations we have before the show? And, and now that Bob started to let you in on those, the floodgates might open.
Oh, boy.
And we might start sharing what we talk about after the show as well.
Oh, boy. No, that's far. I'm not sharing my therapy.
Fair enough. Okay. Although who knows? Because that's real for you. It might be real for somebody else.
Could be true. Could be true.
Possible. Anyhow, As we go through our conversation around our topic, we would encourage you to share your thoughts and ideas because we know that'll add value to the show. And at the conclusion of that conversation, Bob and I will each offer our one thing, our today's antidote, that thing that we hope will help you figure out if you happen to be stuck or if you're starting out and you're not sure what to do next. This might be the opportunity for you to differently understand what's going on and then figure out how to take that first step. It's usually once you take the first one, the other ones become a little clearer, not necessarily easier, just clearer. And that's what we believe, is that when you take those steps, you start to get results. And when you get results, you have a chance to learn from all of that. And then likely you get a chance to make more money, which ultimately is not that we're all about the money, but it's the money that provides us.
I believe the phrase is all about the Benjamins. Come on, Tom, get it right. Not all about the money, all about the Benjamins.
So we're not talking about 80s rock songs today. We're talking about movies.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well,
you're right. Apologies.
No, that's okay. I just want to make sure I know what there's the topic of the show.
And then there's all the other topics.
Subtopic that is we're supposed to bring in. The problem is we don't ever talk about that. So you start with them and I don't understand. Am I looking for rock bands and music or am I looking for movies with the short clips? Quit. Yes. Anyhow, so as we go through that conversation, please feel free to share your thoughts and ideas. And of course, we would love to have you share your one thing. Before we dive into that, we'll talk a little bit about what's real. And we would encourage you, if you would like, to share your celebrations in the chat, because we know that starting your day off by celebrating what you have done or the actions you have coming up will help you be in a mindset that'll be more effective as you go into that day. So anything you want to share, Bob, about what's real?
Yeah, I've got something. For several years, I have believed in my mind that part of the joy of owning my own business is that Fridays are not a real hard work day for me. I don't usually schedule appointments. I usually schedule makeup meetings with clients or things that are outside the core of my business. It's kind of my shiny object day, honestly, where I might do something that I've always wanted to look into this, or maybe one week I was fixing my website, not core responsibility stuff. But in the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've gotten much more busy with core stuff on Fridays. And it occurred to me this morning that I have until 3 o'clock today, like a full day of real legitimate important stuff going on today, and that Fridays have become a really important day in my business. And I think what I recognized was it doesn't matter. That's just how it's worked out, and that's great. What I think when I evaluate that, I think I was working so hard not to be working hard on Fridays that I think I was squandering some opportunities that probably were in front of me.
Isn't that a judgment?
It is a judgment, but I also think because I was so hard set on, Friday afternoon, I'm not going to do this. Like for a while, I was playing golf every Friday afternoon.
You were trying to play golf every
Friday.
Trying to.
I do miss that from the recreational aspect, but I also, it just hasn't worked out for a variety of reasons. But I think when I look at what the action step is going forward, I think I'm actually going to unblock my calendar on Fridays for part of the day.
We do have a celebration that we want to share.
Thanks to you and this show, I put out into the world something I kept saying I was going to do, but kept finding excuses not to. Now it is out there and committed. So thank you. Today I'm celebrating the show. Kelly, you got to give us a hint what it's about. Come on.
Feel free to do a little self-promo if it makes sense. I mean, if you don't want to share it, obviously.
Absolutely. Or you can talk in the genre.
Yes.
You can be cryptic as you want, but I'm definitely curious. And congratulations, Kelly.
Yes.
It has very little to do with Tom and me, and very much to do with you and what you want and what you took from the program. But that is super sweet to hear. That might be, if I had to give my celebration for the week, Tom, It's been a great week in many ways. That is probably the biggest celebration I could give.
I would agree. I love to see when other people share their value. Yes.
Absolutely.
And don't worry if you feel like it's self-promotion, Kelly. Have at it. Let us know. We'll continue, and if you post there, even feel free to put a link if you would like.
Absolutely. You've earned the right.
Yes, I would agree.
So that's great. Thank you so much, Kelly. I'm completely derailed by that. So
Can I ask you a question about your Fridays?
Absolutely, sure.
Was that an intentional shift, or it just happened that way? That they got busier?
It happened that way because how do I put this? The person that I spend a lot of time with works every Friday all day as well. And it was it wasn't, no one said anything to me to do anything. This was all self-generated, but it was like, well, it's summer and this person's working. Maybe I'll do some work. And just one thing led to another. I see Kelly's put more in. Let's see. I'm doing a free webinar on Thursday, September 14th called How to Create a Personal Pandemic Recovery Plan for Healthcare People. Awesome. I love it. If you want it, Kelly, I'm sure Tom would be happy to look at it, or if you want to walk through it or talk through it with one of us, we'd be happy to do that. I know Tom and I do that with almost every presentation we do. Just, hey, I was going to do this. This is what I'm trying to accomplish. If that would be of value to, be happy to do that, Tom or me. And I see Scott's with us. Good morning, Scott. Glad I logged on today. I'm able to hear a bit from you guys. Tom, I sent you a DM.
Excellent, Scott. I look forward to reading it. Scott is Scott, you'll appreciate my shirt. I think if I can show it.
Oh, is he another Hamilton guy?
They're everywhere, Bob. They're everywhere. So thanks, Scott, for logging in and commenting. We appreciate that, and I look forward to seeing your message. I will take a look at it.
Did you go to school with Scott, like in school, like classes together at Hamilton, or did you meet? Well, I know you're on committees there and you're involved in the, some of the alumni stuff. So I didn't know if you met him from
we were
5 years
we were in
later
class together. We were at school at the same time. He was class of 91, I believe, and I'm 90. So
okay.
And he was a hockey player.
Oh, love it. Yes, like Gremlins, we are everywhere. Scott's a hockey player. Oh, hockey players, I think they might be the most athletic people out there.
Is that because I never played hockey? Is that what you're saying?
No. I played no sports, so I'm not really qualified. But hockey to me just seems like an all-out, like, you're putting a lot of effort into that.
Yeah, I would agree.
And the ability to skate and chase a puck and all those things, there's a lot going on there. Yes, hitting a baseball is really difficult, but you're standing still most of the time.
Yeah, I would agray.
Yeah,
I was always impressed with people who could skate and stop quickly and change directions and do all those things.
And go backwards. I could never do that. I struggled with an all skate, much less a couple skate. Not that there were, well, that's a whole nother story. Let's just stop there.
I think that's roller skating, Bob, not ice skating.
No, we did it with ice skating too.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, they would go around. Oh, yeah. Oh, good. Wow. Good times. Not.
All right. So should we go back to sorting it?
Yeah. So let's go back. So what I learned from that is that sometimes our schedules evolve just because, and I can be very intentional about my schedule, or I can let my schedule evolve. And it's been really good to know over the last 3 or 4 months that if someone says, oh, I was really trying to get together with you this week and it hasn't happened, to be Wednesday. I'm like, oh, well, I know I have time on Friday. And then I can give them a block and say, and so it's been really, in that regard, a really powerful tool for me. I probably had 12, 13 meetings on Fridays with people who were like, I wanted to meet with you this week. I couldn't find a time, or I just never got around to it. Knowing Friday's open really makes that powerful. I don't know if that's like, maybe that's what doctors do and pharmacists and dentists and acupuncturists and masseuses, these people all do that so that they can make up what people get sick or they get COVID or what. I've never done that. So it was really an interesting thing to me to have that window that's available for things that you weren't expecting that you want to take care of.
Well, it's interesting you say that. Like I have at least in the last 6 months, when people ask me for my availability or on my calendar, I try to make after 2:15 not that they can just walk in and schedule. And I try not to schedule on Fridays.
Okay.
Just as in a way to like give myself some boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, if there's something that I need to get done, as you said, and it was what was real is I wanted to be able to say, okay, it's Friday. I'm going to either have the flexibility to not have something regularly scheduled so that if I was going away or vacationing. It was interesting. That was something one of my early coaches once shared with me, that her plan was to not schedule appointments the last week of the month.
Right.
Because typically either that was a good time to do work to plan for the following month, or there are so many holidays that are either the last week or the first week that it's hard to be, have regular standing meetings in that week because of all of the holidays that fall at the end of the month.
And I think the real discussion here is about scheduling and being intentional with how you schedule.
Yes. Kind of
and
falls
without
into our
apology,
topic
because if I see your calendar and I see that there's nothing after 2:00 on Friday, I don't know that you're taking that time to go to the gym or sit on your porch, whatever. I just know Tom's not available then. And I think that's one of the things that's really great about having an online scheduling tool is that you get to block it however you choose. And you say, I'm only going to have appointments Wednesdays.
If you choose.
If you choose.
I think that's one of the things that and goes to our topic a little bit. Sometimes it's hard to start out and be like, okay, I am going to limit my schedule to when others and from online could log in and do it, or when I am going to accept and make myself available to people. And I think part of that is understanding what's real, as you have mentioned. I don't know if you mentioned it today. I can't remember. Or if you've mentioned, but I know you've mentioned in the past, the date night for you is Wednesdays. Mm-hmm. And so you're able to say, okay, at Wednesdays, I'm going to stop working at this time.
You're not getting on my calendar after 4. It won't happen.
And you have the opportunity to set that boundary. Now, we did have something come up that was a priority for you, that you did do something on a Wednesday after 4. And I think that's the opportunity of what's real, is that's where the way you were feeling, the way you wanted to do it, is a date night was a priority. And it allowed you to recognize that there are things that are going on that that you had priorities outside of work. Mm-hmm. Hard to imagine for busy Bob to have priorities outside of work, although I think it's helpful for us to try to understand how those priorities balance, because there are work priorities and there are personal priorities. And how do we figure out how to balance the number one personal priority with the number one work priority?
Yep.
Because that's a challenge. It's really about making decisions and trying to figure it out.
And I think we're seeing that this week with a lot of people going back to, Labor Day's over, the kids are back in school, and a lot of families are trying to reorganize and get kids where they need to be, deal with daycare or deal with after school stuff. And then there's evening stuff, and there's getting school supplies. There's a lot of logistics that come into play this week that weren't in play 2 weeks ago. And even though you could plan it, you can't plan for the fact that, I thought it was going to take 10 minutes to get from school to soccer practice. But because of that traffic light, it takes 20 minutes.
Or getting from home to work in the morning. Yeah. But now that there is more traffic,
yes,
that is the case. And it's really starting out, right? And it's an opportunity. It's just we're at the same point. The summer has ended, so things are a little different. And now we each have the opportunity to figure out how are we going to start out this next phase of the year. And we have the opportunity to, again, look at what's real for us. How is what's different now? Or how is what's real now different from what was real during the summer or than last fall? Hopefully you had a chance to look, you could take a look at what happened last fall. and what are some of those things that might be coming up in the fall that are different from what might have happened in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And a chance to learn from it. That's all. The whole part of being real is take a chance to recognize what it is, evaluate, create some action, and activate those actions, and then learn from the actions.
I see my sister Beth's with us this morning. Good morning, Beth. Good morning, Bob and Tom. I'm celebrating that Adam is up and going to school. That's my nephew. Have a great weekend and a great topic for the week. Hey,
Thanks,
Adam,
Beth.
if you're not up yet, get up.
Well, she said he's
And
up.
Lamar Jackson probably will not be the MVP this year, Adam. We had a bet last year, and he's a big Lamar Jackson fan. Last year, he told me Lamar Jackson should have been put in the Hall of Fame already.
Sounds like a Baltimore fan.
Yes. He was disappointed to hear that they had to actually retire and be out of football
Before they could be put in?
Yes.
Well, maybe Lamar will be different.
You've made Adam's day.
There you go. He might be the first. Could be. You never know.
It could happen. So I think I have my one thing.
All right, let's hear it.
Starting out is really starting out. So you have all that you've learned from the past that can inform going forward, but it doesn't mean you need to do what you've always done. So in the case of last year after Labor Day, we did this. We always had dinner and then we went to soccer practice. And maybe this year you decide that we're going to have soccer practice, then have dinner. Or maybe you're going to have a picnic dinner before the game on the field at the soccer facility. There are options, and I think so often we curtail what we can do going forward because we're tied to what we did in the past. And I think if we use the past to inform us, then we have the opportunity to learn and move forward in whatever direction we choose.
I like that. I wasn't sure where you're going when you said starting out is really starting out. It's like, what else would it be? And I think
you see what I mean, right?
Of course. And I think Scott's comment here actually plays into that. He says he's a huge fan of time blocking, got away from it, but now back at it. And I think it's that opportunity to start out again, leveraging what we know about that. He knew that it was of value to him in the past, and it's easy to get away from those things that we believe have value. Just over time, they erode a little bit, or other things take priorities. And then we always.
Or it seems silly. Oh, well, I know how to do this. I know how to time block. I don't have to take the time to block out my time. I already know that Tuesday from 9 to 11, that's when I do my email. Right. Except and that you get that week where someone books something from 9 to 11 on Tuesday and you don't do your email.
And it's like what we talked about yesterday, winning. You get winning at time blocking and how great it is. And you're like, oh, this is, like you said, this is easy. I don't need to do this. I'll just do it without having to really schedule it in. So I think that's, and Calendly is a good tool. I would agree. Thanks, Scott, for sharing that. I would agree with you. I think one of the things, I think we always have the opportunity to start out or start over. And I think one of the best ways to do that is to go through the process of being real and understanding that, recognizing kind of where you're at and what's going on, and then evaluating how that has been so that we can then determine how we're going to activate what's real and then have the opportunity to learn from it. And I think if you're feeling like you're starting out with something, whether it is the fall, whether it's each week, whether it's the day, and how you're going to start it out, I think taking the time to understand and go through the process of figuring out what's real is a helpful way to help you get started with what's happening. And I didn't need to use started in that again, was kind of awkward. And so I think that's rather than just diving in blindly, because sometimes things happen when you just dive in without considering it. Funny story that just happened to pop in that I'll talk about diving in. I was just out of college and a bunch of my guy friends were going to go to Cancun, high school friends. And so we decided to go. And the first day, one of my friends walked right out to the pool and dove in head first. And of course, there was some anomaly at the bottom of the pool, and he scraped his head and had to have like 4 stitches and couldn't go underwater the rest of the week. And I think it's a good analogy that sometimes we dive into things without really knowing what's there. And I think if he had stopped to consider all the things that were real, he might not have dived headfirst. He might try to check out the pool first before diving in and ending up with a situation that he didn't want or didn't expect. And I think that's helpful for us in our everyday lives, is to think before we just, all right, I'm going to just dive into this. Let me get an understanding of what's real for me, because it's going to be different than what's real for everyone else. And just because time blocking works great for Scott and some other people doesn't mean that time blocking is necessarily going to be great for you. Yet you can learn from their value and what the value they found in it, and see if it makes sense to you. So that's my one thing, is that take the time to figure out what's real. And I think that'll help you as you start out with any process, project, time frame, your day, whatever the case might be.
And if that's something you struggle with, hey, you're not alone. Believe me, it's fairly common. And Tom and I would love to talk to you about how we might be able to work that. Hey, Tom, throw that promo up now if you would, and I'll just do it before we even close. We'll shift things for giggles. I know it's off the hook, but sometimes we just have to do it. Hey, are you ready? Ready to get real? Because we want to help you get real. That's right. This is our program, Get Real, Get Results, Make More Money. It's exactly what we're talking about. How to start out, how to start over, how to figure out what's going to work for you and help you achieve your goals. It's not as hard as it looks. Sometimes the outside perspective can be so valuable, just asking you the questions that lead you to solve the riddles yourself. So if that's something that's of interest to you, talk to Tom or me. You can direct message either one of us, and we'd love to chat with you, or you can go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. All right, Tom, back. I know.
Okay. All right. Well, so we'll just play this by ear and see how it works out. So thanks everybody for being with us. Thanks to Scott and to Kelly and to Beth for sharing your comments. We love the fact that you're adding value to our show and that you show up and share your value with us and others. So please keep commenting. We appreciate that. If you're listening to the podcast, unfortunately, there's no place to comment. Bob has not been able to figure that out yet, and others, not just Bob. And so if you would like to share a comment, please feel free to join us in our Sculpt Your Business Facebook group. You can share your thoughts and ideas there, as well as gain from the thoughts and ideas shared by others. So we look forward to seeing you in that group. If not, we will see you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m.-ish Eastern time, for our next episode of Today's Antidote.
Hey, folks, whatever you do as you head into, oh, wait, I see a note from Scott. Let's see what we got here. Have to jump to get our 8-year-old to school. Great topic. Look forward to connecting and catching up. Thanks. All right. All right, there you go. It sounds like you and Scott have a lot to talk about. And getting an 8-year-old to school sounds like a task. Could be.
A process.
Hopefully that goes well, Scott.
I'm sure every morning is real, and you start out differently.
I was going to say, you're starting out anew, because I would bet that 8-year-olds forget everything about what it was yesterday.
Correct.
So, folks, whatever you do today, this weekend, every day, embrace the renegading you. And if you don't know what that means, because someone asked me what that meant the other day,
interesting,
Tom or I would be happy to explain it to you. Just reach out to us and we'll explain to you what we believe being a renegade is all about. You'll be amazed. You're actually a renegade right here, right now.
All right, everyone, go out and enjoy the day. We will see you soon.
Hey, there's nothing more to say, Tom. I did it already. Move to the next screen. There you go. And while we're on the screen, Tom, let me point out, do you notice that you and I are on different sides on this screen than we are in the program? That's my epiphany for today.
I didn't notice that until you brought it up. I'm okay with that.
We start anew every day. You would expect me to be on the left and you on the right, and it doesn't work that way.
Not always. Not always. All right, everyone, go out and enjoy your day.